Say hi.
No, this is perfect. I don't need the plants like Rabbi Ariel. Very subtly. Y'all, I'm just getting our Zoom set up. We'll get going in just a second here. I would love that. You can actually ask anyone. Would you be willing to do it?
It's Venus Nika.
Yeah, please.
No. We need to.
I got that part.
Can we have one more? Awesome, thank you. Hinemato, sure. Hinemato. A minor, typical. A minor, D minor, E minor, Hinemato.
Good Shabbos. I'm Rabbi Joey Glick. I have light skin, brown, very long hair tonight, and round glasses. I am just so grateful to be leading this evening with this interwoven family band of Billy, Jessica, and Zev. Whatever, I'm just psyched to hear your music. Welcome to each of you who's joining on Zoom. Welcome to all of us who are in person and who are on the live stream. Is anyone here at Shir Tikva for the very first time? Welcome. Would you feel, I hate when people do this to me when I'm new in a space. Would you be willing to introduce yourself? Regina, and where are you coming from? Minnetonka. A long, long journey. Welcome. Is anyone returning to Shir Tikva after being away during the COVID times? Welcome. Just for my purposes, someone who's clueless, what are y'all's names? Marion, and I saw, yeah. What are your names? Thank you all so much for returning to our space. And we have one more. Ooh, Dara. Well, welcome to everyone who's in our space for the first time, everyone who's in our space after a long time. I want to give a special welcome tonight for everyone who's had like an awesome week where you've been productive and loving and swam and felt like your truest self. I also want to give a super special welcome to everyone who just barely made it here, everyone who experienced some traffic on the way, who's feeling exhausted, brain foggy, or otherwise iffy or lousy. Welcome. Let's bring in all of our successes, all of our schlepping, all of our bruises and joys and love into lighting the candle tonight. I can invite you guys up. Candle lighting is on page 2 in our Siddur and is number 2 in our online Siddur. I'm not done with you two. Come on, Dan. Could I put you all down right here, right front and center? We are totally and completely blessed today by getting to celebrate the upcoming wedding of Eli and Malka. Tonight, I want to give you all a few words from Song of Psalms, this beautiful biblical love poem, and I'll sing these words. Ani yeshana veli bier kodorido verpetrele Ani yeshana veli bier kodorido verpetrele. Those words mean, I was asleep, but my heart was awake. The voice of my lover knocks, let me in, let me in. I bless you all tonight to be what you already are, battle partners. Some inside joke. Knocking down hard at the door of each other's hearts. I bless you all with the love to burrow ever deeper, opening chambers inside of the deepest parts of your souls. As you bless each other with your relationship, you bless us with the joy to celebrate you in this moment and to witness the blossoming, always growing, wild tendrils of your love. Let's take 1 second for you all to close your eyes and for us just to send out all the love we have. Guys, I just hope you have the most incredible week. Enjoy it. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yehelanu, 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 uvecho Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu, uvecho Yisrael. Dayenu, that would be enough. We could all go home. But we get to sing together. We'll pick up with the words of Kabbalat Shabbat, page 12 in your Sidor, number 3 online. Lechu neranena. Turn to page 13, number 4 online for Shiru Ladonai.
Shiru Ladonai, Shir Hadash, Shir
Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru B'Yom, Le'Yom Teshuato.
We move on to our lavender sheets for Ana Bakoach.
Tatir Tzerura, Tatir Tzerura, Kabel Rinat, Rinat Amcha, Sagenu, Zarenu, Nohora, Ana Bekoa, Gedulat Yemincha, Tatir Tzerura, Tatir Tzerura, Kabel Rinat, Rinat Amcha, Sagvenu, Tarenu, Nohora, Hai, Rai, Rai, Ho, Hai, Rai, 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 Ro, Hai, Rai, Rai, Ho, Hai, Rai, 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 Ro, Rai, 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 Ro, Rai, 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 Ro. Solid ground, till I saw the earth in motion, in the winds of steady change, and in the ever-rolling oceans. I believe in solid ground, until I saw the earth in motion, like the winds of steady change, and in the ever-rolling oceans. Ana Bekoa, Gedulat Yemincha, Tatir Tzerura, Tatir Tzerura, Kabel Rinat, Rinat Amcha, Salvenu, Tabrenu, Nohora.
We'll turn to page 20 in our Siddur, number 6 online. We get to welcome in the Shabbos bride, the Shabbos groom, the Shabbos spirit all around us. As is our way, the final verse, verse number 9, folks should feel free, if you're interested, if you're up for it, to rise in body and spirit and storm the street going out that way.
Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekar. שמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק המחה, והוא ימהור עלייך חמלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לישי בגדי תפארתך עמי. על יד בן ישי בן הלכני, קרבה אל נפשי גאלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי. שירי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת קהלה. איי 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 בני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת קהלה. איי 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי, לא תקלמי, תשכחי ומתהמי. בך יחפשו הענייני, ונבנתה עיר התהילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. והיו לבששוסיה ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כזמוז חתלה על כלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
Oh, so good. Shabbat Shalom, our community in transition and in movement. We're going to take the next 4 minutes to greet each other.
4 minutes.
I invite next 4 minutes. I invite you, whether you are whether you are old friends or I'm not sure I know you because we're all wearing masks. Let's introduce ourselves no matter what and wish each other a sweet Shabbos. And if you're feeling antisocial this week, totally fine to just leave your hand over your heart and people will leave you totally alone and you can have some good alone time.
Yes. Thank you for the singing and
So my uncle is called like the most up there. Yeah. But these are all probably, and there were three quick, people 4 generations up from me who all had a hardware store together, and all of their descendants are on the North Shore now.
I went to Ramallah with all this time.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's like
Just come here now?
What's that?
You just got this video?
Yeah, let me turn this microphone off. One minute warning, everyone. 1 minute.
I'm moving closer. Oh, you want it?
This is like a really good version of it. You know, they usually they pick kind of like a cue, you know. You don't think so?
I'm not sure. I don't have enough room here.
If we just do it, I think he'll appreciate it. We don't turn it into anything big. We're just gonna do Venus Nigun for a moment to bring people back.
We turn to the coming of darkness, moving into our evening service on page 28 and number 8 on our online Siddur. Rise and body your spirit for the Baruch.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Stay standing if it's your tradition on page 34 for the Shema, and then into the Ve'ahavta, page 34 or 9 and 10 online. Next page, number 10 for Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך וביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ושכתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We turn to page 4011 in the online for Micha Mocha.
Mi chamocha la'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef ele, malhutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai yiloch le'olam va'ed, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osef ele,
Galo miad chazach mineinu baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. I'll invite up Emma Stout to share just a word of Torah with us. So good to see you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
In the Hashkivenu prayer, we ask God to spread over us a Sukkot Shlemecha, a canopy of peace. As I reflected on these words in preparation for this evening's Kavanah, I couldn't help but picture a literal canopy, a tree canopy, that was fresh in my mind. I recently had the pleasure of traveling west and spending time in the redwoods of Northern California. Even though I've traveled to the redwoods many times in my life, the first moment in the forest is always the same for me: absolute awe. These ancient giants have a way of taking one's breath away. Towering over 350 feet above ground, and with an average lifespan of 600 years, redwoods are the tallest living creatures on Earth. As I walked through the forest this summer, I found myself wondering about their roots. I vaguely remembered reading somewhere once that tree roots are often 1.5 times as deep as the height of their tree. So I thought that, at such awe-inspiring heights, redwoods must surely have root systems that burrow deep into the ground, each tree supporting itself by digging roots deep into the earth, right? So I investigated. I was very surprised to learn that redwood roots are actually only around 12 feet deep. So how does a tree with such shallow roots support such a giant structure? The answer, as it turns out, is connection. Redwood roots are shallow, but they spread out and intertwine with neighboring roots, forming an interconnected system that keeps each tree stable. The towering redwood canopy that protects so many creatures on the forest floor owes its strength in large part to the connection between the trees. I think there's wisdom for us here. What would it look like if, like the redwoods, we behaved in a way that acknowledged our deep connection with one another? What if we behaved like we depend on each other, like our survival is bound together? I wonder if we are able to truly live this out, we may not find more peace. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll turn to that song of peace on page 42, number 12 online.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'taknenu V'yetza tova milfanecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'taknenu V'yetza tova milfanecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha V'taknenu V'yetza tova milfanecha.
We turn to page 44, number 13, for Veshamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam B'ni u'b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Oti le'olam Oti le'olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam.
We'll take on the Shir Tikva tradition of, before entering the Amidah, calling out a word of gratitude that's landing on us tonight. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Lakes.
Family coming home.
Visitors.
To all of that and more, we'll start together on page 46 and then continue at our own pace, closing out with Oseh Shalom together after some silence. 46 in the Siddur and 14 in our online Siddur. Adonai, Sivat Tivtai, ufiagi tehilatecha Adonai zilatat tiftah ufiagi tehilatecha Adonai zilatat tiftah ufiagi tehilatecha Adonai zilatat tiftah ufiagi
Say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, me'al kol Yisrael, me'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael,
we'll take a moment to call to mind the folks in our lives and in our community that are in need of healing. I'll do a slow look around the room. And don't be too polite, Minnesotans. You can speak over each other. Like, we will hear, like, the spirits will hear. I'll start on this side of the room, and feel free, if you'd like to say the name or names of anyone that you're thinking about tonight that you'd like to bring some healing. Devorah, Bat Feva Max, Malko Bat Chana, Bat Rav Chana, Eliezer.
When the world is sick, can no one be well? Well, I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can no one be well? Well, I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. Elna, Refana la, Elna, Refana la, Elna, Refana la, Elna, Refana la.
Good Shabbos, everyone. I have multiples of these black little books, and I live in fear of grabbing the wrong one. Years ago, I was walking into my first day of work as a chaplain, my first day really spiritually caring for folks, when I received a text message from an unknown caller. The text read, "Dear Joey, this is your great Aunt Doris. I've been praying for you this morning, and I'll keep praying for you and for your strength in your work and your love of the people you serve." Great text. Great Aunt Doris isn't exactly my great aunt. She belongs to my friend Jordan. I'd met Doris years earlier at mine and Jordan's college graduation, which Doris had arrived at our vegan co-op with a huge casserole of cheesy grits, which, as a side note that's not important to my message today, we decided, we made a halachic decision that Velveeta is far enough away from, from any organic material. So it was allowed. At that first meeting with Great Aunt Doris, she told me about her life fighting for racial justice in her hometown of Columbia, Missouri, and fighting for a progressive revolution in her home denomination of the Southern Baptist Church. 5 minutes into eating her grits and hearing her stories, I was ready to be adopted as her great nephew. And then some years later, when I was schlepping across the country to start my first real job doing spiritual care as a chaplain, I was equal parts excited and terrified, and I was lucky to stop at Doris's home in Missouri. As her baking cooled, I dished about my hopes and fears and dreams as a chaplain. When I finished my monologue, the peach cobbler was thankfully cool enough to eat, and with my first bites, Doris asked me if I wanted her to pray for me. My answer came immediately and enthusiastically, yes, please. Okay, when will you be starting your job? Doris asked. In a few weeks, I said. Doris replied, no, honey, I need a specific time. And so 3 weeks, 4 days, and 14 hours later, as I stepped into my new office, I received this text message from Doris and realized that at exactly that moment she was praying for me. And not only that, 1 year later, after I received another message from Doris to the moment. The text message read, I've been praying for you this year. Have strength, Joey. This week, we stand on a number of scary precipices with our ancestors. 2 big, scary moments. In our Torah portion, Moses and the Israelites stand on the banks of the Jordan, looking over into a land that they're about to enter, about to form into their new home. And on Saturday night, we're going to close our Torah portion and enter a really different place of Tisha B'Av, the day of mourning for the destruction of the temple. While the Israelites in our Torah portion prepare to enter the land and build a home, Tisha B'Av brings us 500 years forward as our people limp away from that home in ruins. At these types of moments, at deaths and births and big transitions and enterings and leavings, I wonder how we balance survival and emotional honesty, how we hold strength while keeping feeling our feelings. In short, I'm wondering tonight about how we cultivate resilience. And as these big questions have been banging around my head, and not coincidentally, as I've been living through a number of my own big transitions, I've been moved by one single little word in our Torah portion. 3 verses in, we hear that Moses, standing on the banks of the river Jordan, be'ers the Torah. This word, bet aleph resh, be'er, is a bit of a mystery. In its noun form, like the city of Beersheba, it means a well, like a well of water that you would drink from. As a verb, its most basic sense is to dig, to search for water, but it takes on ever more abstract meanings, to explain, to storytell, even to translate. And so as he prepares his people to leave him behind and enter Zion, Jerusalem, Moses be'ers the Torah. He explains it, or he translates it, or something or other. My favorite explanation for this little word comes from the 17th century Ukrainian mystic, the Chassid Kedushas Levi. The Kedushas Levi imagines Moses looking out over his people and the land they're about to call home. Moses can see beyond this point. He can see ahead to the construction of the temple and the flourishing of the Jews in the Jerusalem, but also the next chapter, the destruction of that temple, the beginning of exile. In this future, in the wake of exile, Moses suspects something very specific, that many Jews will forget their Hebrew. They'll forget their language and speak only the languages of their non-Jewish neighbors. So, according to the Kedushas Levi, Moses be'ers. He takes on a linguistic revision of the Bible. Moses sprinkles non-Hebrew words throughout the Torah, a Greek word here, an Aramaic word here. He sneaks in words so that when the eventual Greek or Aramaic-speaking Jew encounters biblical words in their native language, they feel at home in their text, they feel seen. I like to imagine how this might actually play out. Let's imagine for a second a 6th century surly Babylonian preteen prepping for their bar mitzvah. They are unhappily memorizing Hebrew for next week's parsha, resentful that they have to chant in this language that almost no one knows, but only the nerdiest scholars can understand. Just as they are getting ready to slam shut their papyrus workbook, they come to a commandment to totafot, to fill in, to wrap themselves and a holy amulet. As they read that one word, totafot, they are struck by a memory. It's a cold night and they're 5 years old, and their grandma comes with a blanket and says, "Let's totafot you up real nice. Let's wrap you in this blanket, love." Totafot is not some incomprehensible Hebrew to our surly teen. It's the plain old Aramaic that their grandmother and their friend and that everyone else in Babylon would use. For one moment, the Bar Mitzvah kid imagines wrapping their tefillin just like their grandma would wrap them in a blanket on a cold night, not in a distant language of ancient Israel, but in the tender vernacular of their diasporic home. Just as great Aunt Doris sent me a text message, Moses sent out 100 tiny words of support to future Jews, living far from a stable national home or language. Unfortunately, Moses didn't see all the way to us. He didn't sprinkle the Bible with English, let alone snarky memes or soulful text messages, or all the other weird ways we communicate today. However, I suspect that if we look closely and read carefully, we might find some special messages just for us, akin to the totafot that the Babylonian teen experienced. The special message I hear this week, in our moment of national homecoming and home leaving, in Moses' tender translations and Doris's loving texts, is something about the myth of individual strength, resilience to fight and to fear and to feel is not about our own courage or inherent or acquired wisdom. It's a gift received. It's an ancestor guessing what his descendants might one day crave. It's a friend's aunt serving us the perfect peach cobbler. It is the kindness thrown by a total stranger or our closest person, guided by spirit, landing where we need it most. I've spoken today about receiving this gift of resilience, and I want to end with a half-formed thought about how we give it. I said before that the word ba'er as a noun means a well of water. I wonder if what Moses offered to the Israelites and future generations, if the word ba'er might be as simple as the action of guiding someone who needs it to water, singing out the way to a well. And maybe this is all it takes to give over strength, to quietly, to gently remind a person that there are deep rivers of nourishment, even and particularly when the landscape of our life feels the most dry.
River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river, let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. I was born in the path of a winter's wind. I was raised where the mountains are old. The springtime waters came dancing down, and I remember the tales they told. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river, let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river, let's you and me, river, run down to the sea.
We'll continue on our purple sheet with an opportunity to bless. Calling together all the kindnesses that you've collected this week, all the ones given to you and freely given away.
Malach Eloti, Malach Eloti Mikora, Yivarech et Hanearim, Vayikra Vehem Shemi. Vishem Avotai, Vishem Avotai, Avraham v'Yitzchak, v'yigdu la'arov, v'yigdu la'arov, v'kerev ha'aretz. Yismech Elohim Kesara Kerivka Kerachel Cheleya Kephraim Uchim Menashe Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. If Zoom folks want to add blessings. May we have a chance to enjoy the wonders of nature. May our rest be restful. May we be blessed with patient courage, strength, and to continue forward. May we continue to find such generosity of forgiveness and sweet understanding for ourselves and those who are closest to us. May we enjoy the water when it finally rains. May we hold each other up on our individual and collective journeys. May you hear the way non-human animals express their love. May we support each other like the redwoods. Shkoyach te'ema. May we draw strength and peace from these songs of hope. May the importance of our actions be equal in benefaction to our intentions. May we find ourselves swaying to the melodies and rhythms of unstoppable life and smiles. May all those eligible to vote in the Minneapolis state primaries by August 9th. Last time I'll say this year. I, Rabbi Joey, need to register in the state immediately. May we find... May we find many loving connections. May we feel recharged alive in this beautiful Shabbat. May we give each other acts of studied inattention when we miss the mark again and again. And as we say amen, we do what we missed before, which is throw candy at the beautiful couple getting married. Not too hard. We turn to page 284 in our Siddur, number 18 on the online Siddur. Rise if it's your tradition for V'hashivota. V'hashivota el levavecha Yi Adonai Ki Adonai, Hu Elohim, Emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo Folks can be seated.
we transition to a moment of thinking of those folks in our lives and in our community who have died either recently or at anniversaries. I'll read through the list of folks that I have here. I'm so sorry that I don't yet know your names and faces so well. It's our tradition here that if you'd like, if a loved one's name is read, you can share a story. And I don't necessarily know to stop, so please flail wildly and help me know that you'd like to share. And then at the end, I'll leave some time for any names that haven't been read that people are wishing to bring forward. Dick Kalin, father of Jeremy Kalin, Hope's father-in-law and grandfather of Leah and Jonah and Nancy and Clement's husband.
My dad was just a sweet, kind, quiet guy, which those of you who know me probably find it hard to believe. But he liked simple, good things. One of my favorite pictures of him was enjoying a surprise, or at least to him and me, a surprise Scotch, a 15-year, actually Irish whiskey, Redbreast. So if you are inclined and get to imbibe, it's very smooth and sweet, and I know why he smiled so broadly.
Mayor Atkin, Rondi Atkin's grandfather.
My grandfather was born in a shtetl in Russia. He was known as Meyer the Stark, Meyer the Strong, and he escaped before World War I with 17 cents, as family lore has it, because to escape the Tsar's army before World War I. So one has to wonder, like many of your grandparents, like how, with 17 cents and no English, did he make it and create a beautiful home and family?
Herbert Eisenberg, Marla Eisenberg, and Marla's grandfather and Rich Eisenberg's father. Would you like to speak, or Herbert Eisenberg, Shauna Eisenberg's grandfather. Bruce Fox, Faith Weiss's fiance. Beatrice Friedman, Eric Rem's mother-in-law. Gabe Friedman, Barbara Egley's father. Stanton Calizer, Joey Calizer's brother. Robert Case, Eric Rem's great-uncle. Estelle Manister, Audrey Lensmeyer and Ellen Walther's grandmother. Roy Mayers, Mandy Temple's grandmother. Donna Ross, Emily Pripus's mother. Mark Schulman, Barbara Schulman's brother. Frank Schultz, Caroline Schultz's father. Clara Waldman, Wendy Henry's grandmother.
My grandma Clara was a very tall 4'11" on a big day. She came here with her aunt for a visit in the early 1900s and was supposed to be here for a year. And when she was at the Sholem residence and I went to interview her, I said, "Grandma, why didn't you ever go back?" And she looked at me like I was an idiot. And she said, "Wendy, the Titanic." So nobody was going on ships at that time. Anyway, she would talk like this, "Hello, darling, how are you, honey?" And she insisted she never had an accent.
Carol Will, Jake Porter's grandmother. And Matthew Walchuk, Karen Martz's father. And we have one other remembrance over here as well.
Thanks. This is our first time back in person. Henry, my son, was the first bar mitzvah on Zoom, and now we're back in person, and it's really nice. My father died 21 years ago on Sunday. I really love to come to shul for his yahrzeit because when we die and we're not famous people, no one says our name out loud in front of people anymore. And so I really like to come and say my father's name in a room full of people. My father's name was Matt Walchuk. And while I have you, Mike's mom, my mother-in-law, her yahrzeit is next Friday and we'll be out of town. So if it's okay, we'd also like to say Anne Maratz. Is there another one?
Any other names that folks are wanting to bring forward tonight?
I wasn't here last week, but it was the yahrzeit for my friends Franklin McLeod and Tom Siegel, and I just wasn't able to be here, but I wanted to say their names. They were good friends of mine.
Any other names?
Leah Anderson, who is a stalwart community member at Hebrew College, just died very suddenly a couple days ago. And she was my welcome buddy and took really good care of me. And now I get to go to rabbinical school, so I'm thinking about her.
Thanks, Jace. Anyone else that folks are wanting to bring forward tonight? We turn to Mourner's Kaddish on page 294, 19 on the online Siddur. Yid Gadal, Vigadash, Merabah, Alma Divra, Kirte, Vamlik Machute, Achayecho, Nuvyamecho, Nuvchaye Decho, Beis Yisrael, Bagavat, Uvizman Karbi, Vimru, Amen. Yishme Rabba Mevarach, Lelam, Ome, Omaya. Barach, Vishtabach, Vibar, Vidramam, Vidnase. Vitadar, Vitalev, Vitalal, Shemei, Dekudisha, Birchu, Ne'elam, Minko, Birchata, Vishirata, Tushbechata, Venechemata, Tamiram, Be'alma, Vimru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu, Velko Yisrael, Vimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mamav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Velko Yisrael, Velko Yashvei Tevel, Hebrew, Amen. Folks can be seated. Do we have a board member in the house tonight for announcement purposes? I think we might be board memberless, which gives me the honor of stumbling over our announcements. At the end of services, please return the prayer books to the usher table, which is right over there. Along with the purple sheets. Separate purple sheet, leave Siddur. And you can find all of our Shir Tikva programming updates on our weekly e-news. If you don't currently receive our emails, you can sign up on the homepage of our website. Also, for anyone who maybe this isn't exactly your first time, but you're newish to the community, I'd love to say hi, so please find me after services. We are going to do two more things. One, we're going to bless some wine and bread, and then we're going to sing together. And it brings me just so much joy to welcome back some like prodigal children of this community, Jason Kai, to do some blessings for us.
Sure. Do you want long or short?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon hinhilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom tefillah lemikra kodesh, zeher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodsheha ve'ahava uvratzon inhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen.
A little harder with math.
It's cranberry tonight, according to David. I am so psyched.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tzei. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
You can find a closing song on page 353. If you don't know the words, it's Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.
So much gratitude to our musicians, to everyone who made this service happen in so many different ways. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Should we do another one? Same?
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam. And thank you to Gordon. Gordon set this. That was smooth. Hey.